Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sonali Senwal. I am from the House of Mosaic. You'll hear about the House of Mosaic later as I invite Mr. Chandra. So here we are, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to the Principals Conclave on Accelerating SDGs. What a fantastic idea. The event today is divided into two segments. The first is the Principals Conclave, where we have dialogues and conversations on sustainability and how we can integrate SDGs into our curriculum. And the second half is the celebration of teachers. The segment is the Teacher Awards Report 2024 Year 3. So here we are beginning with the Principals Conclave. The Principals Conclave is brought to you by School Leaders Council. School Leaders Council is an initiative of the House of Mosaic. It's an SDG-focused organization that works towards promoting and co-creating a culture of sustainability in the wider society through publications, content, and events. The second segment, as I mentioned, will be after the conclave. The TAG Awards is brought to you all by Marian Foundation. This is year 3. And Marian Foundation, under the visionary leadership of Reverend G. Chandra and Mrs. N. Chandra, supports initiatives across health, education, and sports. We are honored to have the founders and trustees of Marian Foundation. They're on the way here with us. We begin the event, and before I begin, I would like to once again give a big thank you and my warm welcome to Mr. Devi Arathun. Sir, thank you very much for your presence here. It means a lot to us. Thank you, sir. We have with us Dr. Anita Arathun, an eminent author and an educator. Ma'am, thank you very much to be here with us. It's an honor. We also have here in our city of Gorakhpur school leaders who traveled from Delhi, from Ludhiana, from Ahmednagar. Thank you very much, Ms. Ritika Anand, principal from our school. We have with us Ms. Rubina Sami. She is an author and a school leader herself. Ma'am is not here, but I think she must be on her way. Give me a second, please. We have with us Dr. Anuradha Joshi. Ma'am, welcome very much. She's founder of Global Creative Academy and Creative Medical Educator, USA. We have Dr. Manjari Tejpal, educationist and sustainability advocate. I think she's also on her way, but she will be in a company very shortly. We have Ms. Ashu Kalra, brand ambassador India, Seeds Asia Japan, a dedicated advocate for climate change education, a very important topic that we'll be dwelling into. Thank you, special guests, and I also like to thank the members of St. Paul School, all the members of the teaching fraternity of Gorakhpur and beyond, for taking your time out on a Saturday and being with us. Your presence means a lot. So, to begin, I would first like to call the students of St. Paul's, Aditya and Aditya, on the stage. So we have students, we have prefects of St. Paul School. St. Paul School is the host partner for year 3 again, and it's a proud moment for us that we have the support and guidance on this very important subject. The students here are talking on the voice of students on subjects such as SDGs and sustainability. It's a call and it's a request to all the school leaders from their side. So, over to you. And can you also have the LED play without the sound, please?
talk about something incredibly important. Why student voices matter in sustainability and global green issues. We live in a future, we live in a time where climate change, pollution, and resource depletion aren't just news headlines, they are shaping our future. And the most important question is who will shape that future?
It's us, the students, young people all across the world raising a voice for sustainability. We are the change makers, innovators, and the leaders of tomorrow. And it starts right here in the school.
Think about it. Some of the biggest sustainability movements have been powered by students. Greta Thunberg started a school strike of climate at just 15. Boyens Land at 16 designed the Ocean Cleanup Project. In India, young leaders like Liga Priya and education activist Tavish Grover are doing phenomenal work. These examples prove that age is just a number when it comes to making a difference.
Now imagine what could happen if the students were given real opportunities to contribute. What if the students were a part of decision making on sustainability in school projects? What if we were encouraged for eco-friendly initiatives like waste-free campuses, tree planting drives, and even renewable energy projects?
Here's the thing, sustainability isn't just about policies, it's about participation. Schools leaders such as you can train us to be good eco leaders.
There's a powerful African proverb saying, if you think you are too small to make a difference, try to sleep with a mosquito. Small but capable of making a big impact.
Studies show that schools that actively involve students in green initiatives see higher awareness, better waste management, and even low carbon footprints. When students have a voice, sustainability stops being a subject and it becomes a lifestyle.
And that's why we need you to believe in us. Give us labs for experiment. Listen to our ideas. Let us lead sustainability clubs support our project. When the school trusts the students to take actions, they don't just create responsible citizens, they shape a better and a secure future of our planet.
As young activist Martin has said, we are a movement, not just a movement. The time for waiting is over. Schools must recognize that our students are not just the future, we are the present.
So, leaders, allow us to join you in saving our planet. Support our voices, our actions, guide and mentor us to make this world a happier and a better place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aditya and Aditya. A big round of applause for the voice of students. Thank you so much. Whether it is the COP or the Paris Agreement, we see that the student voice and youth voice is of highest importance. So, like both the students have protested here or requested the guidance of school leaders, this is what we look at, that even climate educators of today want to connect with schools because they are the warehouses and hub of such resource, which is the students from where the innovations and solutions of tomorrow will be birthed. So thank you again, St. Paul's, for your representation here with a very, very strong message. Next, I call upon on the dais Dr. Amrish Chandra, founder of the House of Music. His commitment to fostering leadership and innovation in schools has led to the creation of the School Leaders Council, a significant step in integrating SDGs into school education. I also like to take this moment to congratulate Dr. Amrish for his first honorary doctorate in green education, presented to him by the Chicago Open University just last month. A big round of applause and congratulations, Dr. Amrish Chandra.
Thank you very much, and a very good evening to all of you that have come from far and wide, all the institutions, schools, and especially our dear children that are here with us today. It's a landmark day, especially as it's the first time amongst the Teacher Prize Award that we have very eminent guests and school leaders that have come from across India. And this only focuses on the importance that we give within our fraternity to school leadership, and the fact that teachers can also become leaders. And I think it is this journey that began nearly 48 years ago under the St. Paul Education Trust, when my parents, Reverend Chandra and Mrs. Chandra, set across to establish the St. Paul School. But that is just the 48 years that limits itself to the school. But the individual journeys have already completed more than 50 years of education. And in doing so, they've had partners and people that have been with them, and only making us realize the importance of partnership, which I kind of better understood when we started talking about sustainability. 2019, in the British Parliament was when I was first exposed to the idea that sustainable development goals is something we cannot ignore. This evening, other than all the evening guests, and I would like to mention this before I go on sustainability, a lot is done in this town, and a lot is done under the ICC fraternity and the school federations and association that we have here. And for that, I'd also like to remember and acknowledge the presence of Mr. David, who is with the St. Jude School, who has been very, very effective partner in all the things that we do in the sports and games, but also the newly crowned president of the school association, Dr. Sanjay Tripathi. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming. And so our journey that began in 2019 ended up in the first project of Sustainable Development Goals, which is goal number 4, specifically for education, and which led us to do the container school project, converting shipping containers into schools. When we did that, we had the honor of the Secretary General of the United Nations, Baroness Patricia Scotland, who was here to inaugurate the first school. In fact, it is a great opportunity for us that as we finish this program and go further on from here, she's actually in Delhi visiting to meet the Prime Minister, and I'll have the opportunity to meet her and tell her that what she inaugurated has taken such shape. But that was just goal number 4. Let me further tell you that when we did the goal number 4, we knew that goal number 4 could not be tackled alone. All 17 goals needed equal emphasis and understanding. So what we began was to convert our St. Paul schools, a school, into the first sustainably aware school of India, which basically means that before you actually become sustainably compliant, you have to first become aware. Unless and until you are aware, you cannot become compliant. That's the journey we began 2 years ago. Now, which would mean, and for all those that are here, that are school leaders and travel from outside to come to Gorakhpur, you'll see that as you walk around the campus, you'll see that every place that we can use and utilize to propel SDGs, we have done so. School buses, corridors, libraries, halls, washrooms, the school fields, the tennis courts, everything talks about one goal. And we've taken that and we've kind of accelerated that. So the idea was that we felt that we cannot teach sustainability. We cannot teach sustainable development goals. But we can create a culture in which you automatically are going to be aware of sustainable goals. This morning I had a parent, and she came to me and she said, she came to me to say that while waiting for the children when the school is over, it's only through that waiting time in the line that she has become aware of SDGs. While she waiting there, she saw the posters, she wanted to know what they were, she asked her children, and the children told her what it was. So the voice of students is an important voice for us. So what we've done with the council is that we feel that, and to be fair, we wanted school leaders and associations to propel the idea of sustainable development goals in India. But the birth of the school leadership actually happened when we were working with the AVP group in Delhi, fortunately, and where I met the Prince St. Mark's School, Mr. Garland, where we were on a panel discussing acceleration of SDGs and what we each do in our school. And that's where we thought that if we could create a council where school leaders come together, understanding the importance of SDGs, and through various activities we can propel the ideas through your playfield schools, learning, that is when you make them aware. Now, what happens when you make them aware? I mean, do you get a plaque of honor? Well, maybe so, because some organization will recognize the work that you've done. So is in our case. But the idea is, and I was only discussing this with Sir Alapun and ma'am yesterday for dinner, that what is the importance now of teaching a lot of subjects that we used to? When we were growing up, we had recitation and drawing and writing and handwriting and then GKs and moral sciences. But are we teaching them the fact that when they go past the same roads or the same weather, they're still using an air conditioner in last week of November? Are they aware of why that is happening? Are they aware of the withering of leaves before or after the due time that they have seen or their parents have seen? That is the change. That is what sustainability is about. So the council put together is trying to invite and bring all such school leaders, all principals and leaders that are here today, to bring them together, and this is the first green sustainable school leaders council in India. There is none that exists so far. And the idea then is to link this with international bodies, get you the recognition to help it do better. So in St. Paul's we have an SDG circle that was formed 2 years ago. We've defined a SDG curriculum, and we are with the belief that SDGs through a comic illustration is easy to bring into schools. So I believe with the thought that the school leadership is an initiative that brings leaders together to help learn from each other how to accelerate the SDGs within the schools. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon with us. Lots of good talks, lots of things to learn for us and also for you. Thank you and God bless.
Just give me a minute. Thank you very much, Dr. Amish Chandran. We'll have to get into habit of addressing sir with the doctor. It was just 2 years back when we called the core team into his office and a few senior teachers of St. Paul School introducing us to the topics sustainable development goals. And that time we were like, okay, we know sir is famous, or may I say infamous, for bringing to the school back-to-back multiple ideas and initiatives. So none of us were aware, like sir said, and knowledge and action begins with awareness. Today, proudly I can say, working with sir and at the House of Mosaic, also in support with the St. Paul School, every member of the school. And when I say the school, it's not just the tripartite community of student teachers and the parents, but also the administrators who work here, also the bus driver, also every person who walks in the field is aware of sustainable development goal. And with all the enthusiasm and commitment, we are going forward with having our own SDG lessons. There's more that we were talking about in the further session. So it's a proud moment, so getting his honorary doctorate in green education, because the future is green, the future is students, and schools hold a great potential. Can we have an AV on School Leaders Council plate, please?
The United Nations aims to make the world SDG aware by 2030. At the House of Mosaic and Mary Foundation, what has come to us
So can you
is
please shift to that
is it
scene?
possible
We have to go where? Camera will go.
the SDG goals
Sorry, sir.
without the inclusion of landmarks of people? Probably not.
Take these 17 goals and sing. Together we can change the world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe it's not
confidence that we create
इसके
answer
बाद
of school leaders
इसके
that
बाद वाले
help
में करूँगा
build relationships. And in this country, we understand the importance of the young minds, the influence of them, their training in society. It is important we make the carriers of Indian schools. That they become the carriers of these 17 goals to take them into society, into home, and be the messengers and ambassadors. It is with this intent that today we connect with you and ask you to come and join us in this attempt to raise the activity in our practice, our school teaching, school culture, and school life.
Thank you very much. We now move to the next segment. It is the Insight session. We are privileged to have with us today Dr. Anuradha Joshi, a distinguished medical educator and the founder and director of Global Creative Academy. She's a renowned medical educator with a passion for transforming learning through innovation. Dr. Joshi will now share her insights on how we can integrate sustainability into our educational approaches. Ma'am, if we can have you on the stage, please.
अब बढ़ाना अब लाइट बढ़ रही है
A very good evening to all the dignitaries, the organizers, the founder, our very own Amrish Bhaiya, as I call him, and our revered Mr. G and Mrs. G Chandra. And let's not to forget the lovely students who have been working so hard to make this event a success. So about myself, I just want to share at the start that I have been working in medical schools in Gujarat, and I've been associated with medical schools for the past 28 years. I'm an ex-student of St. Paul's. Proudly, I would like to mention here that whatever out-of-box pedagogies, innovations, creativities are being brought in the medical schools in India, I am definitely with my entire team and the blessings of all the teachers here, we are bringing a lot of changes in the medical education system of India. And adding on to this, we were invited to be a pivotal part of making changes in the curriculum at US medical schools in the last year. So for this and everything, I would like to thank my school, my teachers, who instilled in me the values of curiosity, creativity, critical thinking, innovative and design thinking in me. And that led into all these discoveries. So today I am really feeling blessed to be a part of this mega event showcasing the vision and mission of the founder, that is Mr. Amrish Chandra sir. And above all, again, I would deeply thank my teachers here and my principal sir and Nirmala ma'am. Now regarding the sustainability developmental goals, now what are we doing in that field? Being a medical doctor and a medical educator, we are mainly working in the goal 3 and bringing and fostering the 3 and the 4. That is catering to the health and the quality education. We bring in extra slots of activities for medical schools, which are again I would like to share here that is one of its kind in Gujarat. We are the pioneers in bringing these changes in our medical schools, that is, conducting researches on lifestyle modifications, on the statistics of the various diseases, the chronic illnesses like hypertension, diabetes, and especially obesity. We're giving such projects to students to decrease the load of illness on this planet. Believe me, we have been, we have been guiding students, more than 500 students, doing researches, conducting qualitative researches, not only quantitative researches. And qualitative researches, my friends, is the need of the hour. We are also bringing in humanities, bringing in art, blending art into the medical curriculum. All these goals which you see here, especially the one which I mentioned, the third and the fourth, in context to health and in context to quality education, all these are converted into scenario-based educations. We are no longer having much of only didactic lecturing for students. We are bringing in flipped classroom approaches for our students, wherein we give a particular topic, for example, how to dispose the hospital waste, how to dispose the drugs or the medicines, what are the adverse drug reactions, what is pharmacovigilance, what is chronic illness, what are the hazards of obesity. We all know obesity, India is becoming the diabetic capital. Gujarat is one of the diabetic capital of India itself. And yes, obesity, it's a challenge. How to instill this into our students? We need to bring in lot of affective domain related activities in our curriculum. Unless and until a student feels about a particular pain, about a particular illness, about a patient, about anything related to these goals, how will the student act? So researches, documentaries, humanities, all these we are blending into our curriculum. And I can proudly say that in India, in Gujarat, at our medical school, our management is supporting us for doing all these activities. They're giving us full autonomy. And yes, the seeds of this creativity, this thought process have started from it. Can we have a huge round of applause for that? So in summary, we are conducting a lot of faculty development programs, various student development programs, wherein we even bring documentaries. We even have slots for cinematic education for the students and guided discussions. The guided discussion is something which is prepared by the faculties under supervision, with peer discussions, with meetings, and then we conduct such sessions in class so that the students are aware about the importance of bringing in quality health and quality education in the system. There's an important role of narratives in medicine. We can't have surface approach for such important determinants of the future of our country and of course of our globe. So we need to bring in narratives, we need to bring in pedagogies which actually foster the thinking of such important determinants which is affecting our globe. So with this, I would like to end. I would not like to take much of time. During the panel discussion, we can have one-to-one discussions. You can ask me questions, how we are actually blending all this in our curriculum. Yes, of course, it was tough in the start. We definitely faced a lot of resistance, but yes, after having continuous regular meetings and conveying and disseminating the importance of bringing the sustainable developmental goals in medical field, this is now a regular feature of our curriculum. So thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joshi. This was very insightful. You have shared your expert insight as medical educator on the goal number 3, which is good health and well-being. As we believe and we all know that unless we have a healthy body and a healthy mind, none of us can work towards sustainability. So thank you very much sharing a different lens with us today at this conclave. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we prepare for the first panel discussion. If we can have a support team prepare the stage, please. The role of educators in embedding sustainability into the curriculum is more important than ever. To discuss this, we have an eminent panel with us today. I'd like to invite on stage our esteemed panelists, beginning with Ms. Ratika Anand. Ma'am is a national awardee, principal of St. Mark's School, a leader in transformative education. Ma'am, can we please have you here? A huge round of applause. I hope you are going through the post-consistent. Next, I'd like to invite Dr. Anuradha Joshi again on stage. Ma'am, if you can have a floor for me. Ms. Ashu Kaza, Brand Ambassador India, Seeds Asia Japan, and dedicated advocate for climate change. Ma'am, can we have you? We are also expecting Dr. Manjri Deshpal. She's not here. But once she arrives, then we will have her join the panel. And to moderate the panel, if I can request Dr. Amrish Chandra to help us with the panel discussion. Thank you very much. And we also have the mics.
Again, good evening to everyone, and a very warm welcome to all our panelists that have really traveled. It's back home for Dr. Anuradha, but for the other two, a very warm welcome. Maybe have a big round of applause for all these three people that really taken our time and come. And I must say that this actual event was on the 24th of January, but the extreme climate conditions in Gurpur didn't allow. But had that gone ahead, we wouldn't have had any of these three. So I think it's your rightest wish that we all have them on this, and it's a historic day for all of us. So to begin with, I mean, we just heard about Dr. Anuradha Joshi, so let me have a brief from both you, both of you, on your school and a little bit of your journey before I really get into the panel discussion. So, Ritika, first you, please.
So very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, sir, for having us today at St. Paul's, and feeling really welcomed. And it's a great evening to be spent with like-minded people. I work as a principal of a school based in West Delhi, that's St. Mark's Senior Secondary Public School. We complete 50 years in the field of education this year, as 2025 marks 50 years of St. Mark's in the field of education. I'm a physics teacher primarily, was honored by the National Award for Teachers in the year 2023. But I think rather than calling myself a teacher, I would address myself as a lifelong learner, because that is what makes us alive and kicking, that we are learning every minute, every second, every day. So yeah, very happy to be here, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. A very good evening to one and all. Namaskar. And thank you so much, sir, for having me here. It's the first time that I'm meeting all of you. But then in this little time that we've discussed, there's been so much that has been happening. There's been so much that I've seen here. So apart from the introduction that was given, basically I'm also an academician. I've been associated with schools, with schools like Delhi Public School and St. Ram Chepuria, where I worked last as a principal. Now, in the school, when we talk of SDGs, basically, the kind of things that we did is like, we will have to live them. We cannot teach them, we have to live. So, the school, the campus was zero plastic and zero thermocol campus to begin with. Even, the walls, etc., everything we used to do was fallen leaves, bamboo twigs, and otherwise, and Even water, we used to keep because we got to save water as well. Not just plastics, save water. Every sheet of an A4, when I read this, printing one sheet of A4 paper takes about 10 liters of water. So can we still now waste paper? No, we have to go e-paper. I mean, e-books, everything is everything is digital now. So why to get into a hard copy of papers, apart from textbooks, of course. So with my schools also, that's how we started. We started working with children. We started bringing these practices so that children could see and follow. Can I continue, sir? We've had very good chance being in Varanasi actually. It was about 2019, I think, or 2018, when there were many schools, we brought together children to clean up the river Ganges. That time, Madam Bachendri Pal was there. She started the initiative. Children joined her. What I feel, these are tender brains, their thoughts, the moment anything seeps into their mind, they will ensure. I don't think any child who cleaned the Ganges that day would ever throw anything into any river or beach side. So these are the practices I think we have to bring into life, not preach. Think of such things, bring them into life, and being a published author also, what I try to do whenever I get an opportunity, any activity in the textbook, if the topic gives me a scope, I relate it to SDGs. Why not put a conversation for grammar where underwater the animals are talking to each other? Why conversation only of humans? Why not of animals? Why cannot we personify things? That's what we teach them. Literature, poetry is all about personification. So these are things, that can be easily brought into the curriculum by the schools. And because of time, I'll share more what I've done with the Japanese, because they work on a different. There's so much of learning because they believe in ESD. How they relate SDGs with the curriculum is education for sustainable development. ESD is that. So once we bring this in very simple ways into our curriculum, I think with those small baby steps, the work has started. Anything starts with small steps, and we take small strides towards the goal. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. As leaders, all three of you in various respects, and this doesn't reflect only on school leaders. I am often spoken about it at home on this. But what is your individual sustainable goals, if I begin with Anuradha, as leaders in your own field? What is that one sustainable goal in your own personal life or family life? Anuradha, please wait.
Thank you so much for that pertinent question. So, in the field of medicine, I personally feel that the students should be very careful about their lifestyle modification changes. Because that is something which is destroying the health of the young generation. We keep hearing so much about processed food, junk food. All these things have to be, there have to be daily alerts, reminders for the students. There have to be projects which focus on the importance of not having the processed food. So from the health point of view, that is what I feel is very, very important. Since I am from the medical field, we are undertaking such projects for the students, and we also tell them to make documentaries and conduct researches in terms of finding out how many students are actually consuming processed foods. So all this is in the pipeline in our college.
What about you?
Okay, so for me, I think it would be SDG goal number 3 and 5. Because of course, ma'am has spoken about 3, which is health and well-being. I've been a master trainer with CBSE on health and wellness program for schools, and apart from physical health, my focus has been on the mental health, and during the course, maybe another question gives me an opportunity to talk about it. But right now, I think I would like to talk about SDG goal number 5, which is gender equality and gender sensitivity. So much has been talked about feminism. feminism, so much has been talked about inclusivity, but all across the world, we are so used to something called structured violence. In the sense that, this is by the way a term coined by a sociologist whose name is Johan Galtung, and he gave this term called structural violence, the violence against any genders, primarily women or transgenders, is so much weaved into the society, into the fabric of society, that we take it as normal. Nobody points it out because ye to hota hi hai, something like that. So making each and every student aware of what is structural violence and talking about feminism in a healthy way, having simple activities in the school like girls on a football team and boys cooking something for their classmates, having those kind of conversations around equality. It is, I think, imperative because in the world we live in, I'll just give you a small example. If I ask you as an audience, give me the names of a few female authors. Ma'am is here with us. So if I'm going to ask the list of female authors, probably you can give me 100 names of male authors, but you can count female authors on your fingertips. Artists, educators, authors, everything used to be dominated by men once upon a time. So women were perceived from a man's point of view. शिल्पकार होते हैं ना, जब शिल्पकारी करते हैं मंदिरों में या कहीं पर भी, हमेशा एक आदमी ने औरत की मूर्ति बनाई, कभी एक औरत ने अपने आप को काम नहीं किया. That is the reason women were objectified, right? I don't know from how many years back, isn't it? Do you agree with me? Please raise your hands on that. Yes. We've been objectified. We've been put into a box, and I think now is the time, and especially when it is on board. United Nations is talking about gender equality, and why only men and women? Why not the third gender? We all need to talk about equity, equality, and inclusivity in the society. So that is something which is very, very close to my heart. Thank you.
Absolutely, gender equality is something that one of the four, five pillars that basically got the United Nations to put the SDGs together. Because we all always studied this, we've always studied poverty and hunger and education, but this was a leading factor, and it was interesting to note that yet we do not have a female Secretary General at the United Nations, but we have the Commonwealth. So yes, that's the way to be. So if you hear Dr. Manjari, if you're here, we can get you to come on stage. We'll wait for it to come. So yes, maybe get with you.
So, sir, with me it is definitely health and well-being, especially mental well-being. Mental health is very, very, and all the households today are facing this issue, all schools, all age groups, everybody. With the kind of, competitions earlier, to compete or to see or, to get under, when do we get into depression or any such thoughts come to our mind? Earlier it used to be when we used to go and meet somebody. Now, social media has made has worsened things for us. Sitting at home through your social media handle, you get to see somebody who was your batchmate or with you or your colleague is doing so well. You are doing well, but the other person doing better than you, you're not meeting him or her, you're just watching it on social media. So what happens? It starts impacting your thoughts. And once your thoughts get impacted, your actions get impacted. So that's really close to, I think, every household. This is one issue which we need to address, and which now, of course, NCRT is addressing, and many more books we've seen, mental well-being, yoga, and health, basically, those kinds of practices, and can be brought into schools easily with smaller children, simple deep breathing exercises. Even if, like, I have high blood pressure, I have that problem. So if, I face this problem anywhere, I just do a little deep breathing with Om Ka Ucharan or any deep breathing. So if you don't have to do any Ucharan also, it brings it down fast. Another thing which is very close to my heart is, and which I feel is a part of our lives, is SDG goal number 11. which talks about sustainable cities, disaster risk reduction, saving lives. The most important thing is a life. If a person is alive, the person can do anything and everything. So this is about training children. We provide trainings and we go to schools, we go to colleges. Not just CPR. CPR, a 3-minute exercise can save a life if given on time. One doesn't have to be a doctor to give a CPR. One just has to be trained. Apart from that, simple bandage, first aid. Accidents happen in school, accidents happen at home anyway. Sudden bleeding, we start panicking. There's a lot of panic, we start panicking. We just have to ensure if the bleeding is from the hand, raise it high up. The bleeding will not be that much. Then take, small steps, little steps that we need to know. All the schools have fire extinguishers. But how many of us know how to use them? We go to hotels, we stay in hotels, wonderful hotels, very good hotels. How many of us check the fire exits? That if in case, so this is all covered under that SDG, which is nothing but life skills. These life skills are essentially important, I think.
All right, thank you very much. And I think fitness and well-being is very important, of course, like many other things. And on that note, it's good that we have a very fit and young school associations president now, Dr. Sanjay Tripathi, so which is giving new life to the school association in Burpur. So yes, absolutely amazing. I mean, if somebody was to ask me this, because I'm already someone would ask me, but I'm just saying this. For me, goal number 17 is very important because none of the 16 goals can be done unless we partner like this or we partner like students. So unless communities partner, none of the goals can be achieved. And let me tell this to the audience that there was a big debate on whether the 17 goals have been put in the right order. So is it right to have goal number 1 as goal number 1 and goal 17 was the only goal that there was no debate about. That if you have to achieve all 16, you have to have the 17th one. So whether hunger comes first or education comes first. So this is always the case. I'll take a quick brief to get Dr. Majdi on stage. Please come and join us. She's come all the way from Ludhiana, and I'm actually seeing her after a good 17, 18 years. Come. Thank you and welcome to the panel. Very quickly, I'll go before I ask her to introduce herself. I'll go to another subject and tell you that, as she said, talked about the fire exit. You don't realize, but there is an association that has written, is going in, has put Cadbury's in litigation because the Cadbury's chocolate that you buy has 3 wrappers, right? So it has the foil, it has the branded thin cover over it, and then it has the marketing wrapper over it. So the idea that they are saying is, why do you have to have these 3 paper poles? So there are a lot of things that you become conscious as school leaders, as teachers, as leaders in society, that you can very well put across, these things to make things aware. So one thing on schools, as school leaders, and let me ask this to the 3 of you, first the 2 of you, is that was a goal that you would do individually. What is that goal in sustainability that you follow as an institution? So may I begin with you?
Well, I think if you talk about clean energy and doing a lot for the environment, with the environment, because more than, yes, it's SDG, we're aligning ourselves to it, but we also believe that learning comes from nature. So spending time with nature, and when we talk about, let's say, clean energy, how many of us would encourage children to bicycle, to school, or again using carpools? And when we talk about spending time with nature, I think during COVID, we did a small project with our children. We encouraged them because they were home, they were not coming to school every day. we thought of cultivating small kitchen gardens. And because it was telling them, motivating them wasn't enough, so we actually inculcated the whole system into our assessments, and they created every student. We have 4,000 children in our school. So we built those little kitchen gardens where they were growing their own subsidies, everything on, and they had to, they were
And was there an
biomass
assessment for
development.
that, you said?
We did that. See, because if we wanted some good results, so when you say it was like it was a bait to involve the parents. And the moment the parent thinks, oh, assessment, let me help the kid. So
Yes.
then it became like a community project, and I'm very happy we did that. Because post-COVID, then we did not have to wait for anything. It became habit. Now it is like Project Green Fingers. You talk about it, and yes, we all have green fingers. So that is something which became the culture of the school. So I think that is something which we were really proud of. And definitely when we talk about, as I was talking about spending time with nature, so we always talk a lot about biomimicry. So whenever there is a problem at hand, where are you going to look for solutions? You're going to look at nature. You wanted to fly, so the man, when man wanted to fly, he looked at the birds, and voila, there was an aeroplane which looked like the bird. You wanted to go and voyage through the sea, okay, and the ship just was replicated from the shape of a fish. Yes? So you want anything, you want any solution, you just have to look around trees, water, air, and you get solutions. And that is why it is important to be one with nature. So I think that is something which is at the core of the institution.
Brilliant. Yes, sustainability draws its strength from nature. Absolutely. Sure. As an institution, what do you follow as a sustainable mantra?
As an institution, basically, what I follow, rather what we've been doing till now, is basically for climate. For climate, because tree plantation, not just plantation, even, a lot of trees, not just planting them, taking care of them. Taking care, and even be able. So when we had the opportunity while I was at EPS to we all learn from one another. And when a teacher like Kalam Sahab himself is there to teach you, I had the opportunity to share the stage with him, learn from him, and when he said plant trees and name them, help me grow. So that word, the term that he said, help me grow. Every tree was named help me grow, says Ashutosh. Help me grow, says Ananya. So that's how we did it. And children used to take care of it. What is happening? Children are tying up with village schools, the government schools also. There's a school, and the Miyawaki garden. They are creating mini forests together, putting together, planting together all kinds of species, which happen to be bushy, because there's been so much of development, and climate change is what we are paying the price of that development. We need to realize that this planet is not ours, it belongs to the generations to come, basically. We have to leave it for them. So we have to instill this into the children. So this is one thing which we are very actively doing. And one more thing, sir, is that we are doing a lot of evacuation drills. Evacuation drills in schools, which are very, very important. I had personally conducted this session for about 120 principals and teachers in Varanasi, building safe schools. So in this we had done a hazard mapping of schools. We all went, we took one school as a venue, everybody moved out, and we allocated and we identified the areas that could be hazardous. At times, there were a lot of, and that school I wouldn't name, there were a lot of paintings and a lot of vases kept right on the staircase. What if somebody falls? What if there's a stampede? What if those things fall on the children? So that's a hazard, should be removed. Then also, evacuation drills. Suddenly, we heard a few months back, Delhi, a lot of mails being shot to the schools that yes, there will be a blast, there will be a blast. If there are no practices as evacuation drills, there will definitely be a stampede. Why should we wait for that moment? So we practiced this with my school, and it really worked. Children could relate with the bell. The sound of the bell was as a signal to them, and they knew which staircase to take while coming down in any such circumstance.
Brilliant. Yes, there was an amazing picture. It was an award-winning picture where there was a tiger that was hugging a tree. It was a picture taken by a photographer, wildlife photographer, that I personally happen to know, Mr. Brijesh, was it? Mr. Brijesh. And the interesting part was that both of them needed to be saved. Right? So they were clinging to each other, and so that's what nature is a very big portrayal of how the things are. So, Dr. Manjari, welcome. It's amazing to see you after many years. We have had the opportunity to work on a project together. I've had the opportunity to see her in early years of looking after a school, and she's really traveled a long distance to come. So, very welcome to the St. Paul's family, very welcome to the Mary Foundation, and to
Thank
this.
you so much, sir.
And so, please tell us about your school and yourself a little bit for all of us to know.
First of all, sir, thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here, to be with you, and after such a long time. Though it was, I think, I've worked with you for almost 1.5 years, and there was a lot to learn from such a dynamic person. And I'm carrying forward the learnings I've taken from you during that time. I'm Dr. Manjari Deshpal. I'm Principal Gems Public School, Patiala. The school started in 2014 with almost 10 to 12 students, and now we have a strength of almost 1,300 students, and we are still growing, we are improving day by day. We are trying to build in all possible new initiatives which can help children. And as today we are here to talk about sustainable development goals, so we started initiating and talking about sustainable development goals during COVID times. Yes, it was difficult. Yes, it was difficult to make children understand about sustainability and also to make teachers follow the goal. We started taking some small initiatives, and it helped us to improve our children's thought process, and yes, also of course teachers, parents also are also partnering in this particular task. Like last year we worked on compost karo. We just to reduce the waste and help keep the environment clean. So we started working on compost karo. All green things, all green waste was used for composting, not only in school but at homes of children and teachers also. We taught them how to do composting, students in school, and the same was being replicated at home. Yes, the feedback from parents was that lot of green waste from, especially the kitchen waste, reduced. Like every day they wanted some, garbage picker to come and clean the garbage. But now they say that the green waste is very less. Even if the garbage picker doesn't come for a week, it's all good. So that really helped them work on this. And moreover, as my school is amidst the farms, and Punjab is known for stubble burning, so our children have been working towards this, towards reduction in stubble burning, and at least in our neighborhood, the farms have stopped burning stubble in the vicinity of almost 1 to 2 kilometers. And some of the parents who are also agriculturists, they also have stopped burning stubble, though it's a problem for them how to dispose of, but still they are working towards it.
That's amazing. That's
Thank you so
beautiful.
much. These are some small things.
No, nothing is small and to what we do. I'll go to the last section of this panel discussion, but another thing, you go as a to an institution. What is that you tell them on sustainability? What's your kind to them?
So again, in context to medical field, for me, and whenever we talk to whenever having meaningful conversations with the stakeholders, we pay more emphasis on the fitness and the immunity. Because being in the healthcare, we have seen the catastrophe which was led by COVID, and because of that, we need to emphasize more on the fitness and the immune systems which are being catered. Now, in context to that, for the students, we are having a lot of projects wherein students have to measure the body mass index, the central obesities. They have to take care of their calorie intake. Now, again, let me tell you, this is a process. It's not a surface approach. We ourselves have faced lot of difficulties taking one batch one by one. And in the medical field, coming on to these sustainable developmental goals, if you see in the medical colleges in India, still this terminology has not yet come in. If you will surf the papers of the net, hardly you will, excuse me for that, hardly you will see some of the publications on SDGs in the medical field. So you can imagine how much Herculean task it will be to bring in the SDGs in the medical curriculum. We at Global Creative Academy are taking this, as one of the challenge and bringing in step by step and scaffolding the strategies to bring in all these goals. So
Brilliant.
yeah.
That's a very important thing, because when you have an access to go, you need to put this thought together. So I'll just conclude one thing, because there's a second session and we'll have opportunities to discuss a lot of things with all of you. But I'll summarize with one, but then I'll also make an appeal to all of you, is that it is important to create a culture. All Victorian schools, all old schools, when you look at them, you recognize them with the culture of the school and not the textbook that they learned. So therefore it's very important that we teach them sustainability through our campus life. So my appeal to Dr. Radha and all of you is that when you go to an institution, the institution has three things in abundance. It has a campus, it will never be a two-room classroom. It has a faculty that teaches them, and it has the attention of the parent community. Now, if we can tell them through our stationery, collaterals, programs, whatever we have, make them just aware that these are the 70 SDG goals, then that is amazing thing, because I think all of you need to be sustainable leaders, not just school leaders, and I think that's what all of you are. But I think it's time for us to carry the badge of SDGs on us, because children admire you, teachers admire you, and the last part is, if I could make a humble request on behalf of the House of Mosaic, the host school St.Paul, and the Marian Foundation, that as individuals, when you use a letterhead, carry the SDG ring on the letterhead bag, and the SDG goal that all of you have said that you follow as an institution. That would be also a way of educating. Thank you very much for being with us. A big round of applause for all of them, for all the love they've given us, and we again connect as a session goes. Thank you very much.
If I may request our panelists to please be on the stage, we now move to the next part of felicitating and honoring our esteemed panelists, for which, if I may request, Mrs. Catherine Ganguly, trustee of Marian Foundation, and along with ma'am, if we can have sir, Mr. Sumit Ganguly, director of Rendranath Ganguly Memorial School, Gorakhpur, to present the mementos to our panelists. Catherine ma'am and Sir Ganguly, if you can present the memento first to Dr. Tejpal. Ladies and gentlemen, let's cheer for our inspiring women leaders. A big round of applause. Dr. Manjari Tejpal. Next, we would like to honor Ms. Ashu Kalra. A round of applause for ma'am. Ma'am has shared amazing insights in climate education, a very integral topic and agenda for schools. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now we would like to honor Ms. Ritika Anand. A big round of applause. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now we would like to honor Dr. Anuradha Joshi. Ma'am, if you would please come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. This is a remarkable panel session that we have here. For women leaders championing SDGs in their own schools, in their own fashion and ways. What a fantastic session we have. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Ganguly. Thank you, Mrs. Catherine Ganguly, for helping us honor our panelists. While our panelists take their seats, if I may, under the House of Mosaic and under the able guidance of Dr. Chandra, what our team has been doing for the past 9 months is a very action-packed podcast series on climate education and action, where I have been the podcast host. And why I want to mention this is because on the show we've had some climate activists. One name I like to mention here is People Baba. He has been an English educator, and for the past 40 years he's planted millions of trees. So when he was on the podcast with me, उन्होंने ये कहा कि sustainability हम खुद हैं, और sustainability में सबसे बड़ी पावर जो है वो स्कूल लीडर्स के पास है, क्योंकि उनके पास जो है वो शायद वर्ल्ड लीडर्स के पास नहीं है, और वो है उनके कैंपसेस और उनके बच्चे। तो ये बात हुई पीपल बाबा की। उसके बाद आए एक यंग क्लाइमेट एक्टिविस्ट आकाश रामसन, उसी तरह आए एक ग्रीन लॉयर जो अपने टीम के साथ फॉरेस्ट, एयर पोल्यूशन, वाटर पोल्यूशन, सेविंग वेटलैंड्स में बहुत सालों से काम कर रहे हैं। और उन्होंने कहा, सोनाली आप जाइए स्कूल लीडर्स के पास और आप बोलिए कि स्कूल लीडर्स इतने अमेजिंग इनिशिएटिव्स लेके आते हैं, पर क्यों नहीं वो पॉलिसीज में इन्वॉल्व करते हैं स्कूल के बच्चों को। तो क्यों नहीं पेटिशंस फाइल हो जहां स्कूल लीडर्स मौका दे रहे हैं अपने बच्चों को बड़े इश्यूज जैसे हैं saving the trees, working on air and water pollution, especially the pressing issue that Delhi is facing these days. So, ma'am, thank you very much. Your session, all of the panelists here, reinforces that hope and optimism are two words that we have to go ahead and champion sustainability in our way, because after all, sustainability is practices daily in and out in our lives, in our homes. So thank you very much. And while we have all our ideas and brilliant initiatives, we cannot address and give emphasis on the power of storytelling. So for that, it's my honor to welcome on stage eminent educator and author Dr. Anita Arathun for her session, keynote address on impact of storytelling. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Anita Arathun.
Good evening, esteemed educators, students and friends. It is an honor to stand before such a distinguished group of individuals dedicated to shaping the future of our children through education and SDGs. It is my privilege to speak on a topic that has shaped cultures, influenced minds, and connected humanity across times. Stories have been our companions for centuries, passed down through generations, shaping our beliefs, values, and identities. From the ancient fireplace tales of our grandmothers to the digital narratives of today, storytelling remains one of the most powerful tools we have for communication, education, and inspiration. At schools not only in India, but right across the world. Steve Jobs said, the most powerful person in the world, mind you, is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and the agenda for generations to come. The late Ratan Tata ji was also a voracious reader, and he set up perhaps the largest reading club in South Mumbai at the Tata Gardens, where hundreds of people come and sit and read storybooks. There is no registration, there is no fees, and the best part, there are no cell phones. It is just reading storybooks. It's a rare sight that we see today. But storytelling is more than just words. It is an experience, especially for me as an author. It is a bridge between hearts, between the teacher and the students. And it is a force that can heal. You know, there are children in the class who have certain problems. And you know, by telling a story, maybe it has touched her somewhere. And that helps the child to accept her situation or break down and have a good cry. Also, friends, we understand the world through stories and through each other. Storytelling holds wonderful memories for me as a child. We had a huge terrace in the house in Allahabad. I grew up there. And during the hot UP summers, we would all climb up to the terrace, put down our khatiyas, and sleep under the canopy of stars. I would always lie next to my dadi, my grandmother, because she just had to start a story every night. She would just point to a star in the sky and weave a story for me around the star. She told me about how stars are made of dust. And then she would point to the moon and tell me that the moon is made of cheese and that there is a moon man on it. She also told me that there was no water on the moon, and so I should be careful and not waste water. She also told me about rotation of the earth in her own way. She would act it out for me. She had that top and she would spin it for me. So she gave me a hands-on experience of that at that time. And so she taught me so many stories. I listened to her fairy tales, stories from the Ramayana, the Bible. She told me about Guru Granth Sahib. And so when I went to school eventually, obviously my favorite subjects were literature and history. I loved the two subjects. I started reading from a very early age, reading storybooks, comics, even my mother's magazines also. I started writing good essays, if I may say so, from class 5 onwards. And many times my teachers would read aloud my essays to the class. It filled me with self-confidence and also inspired me to write and to express myself even better. When I started teaching English Literature and History at Calcutta Girls High School, I started using the method of storytelling in my classes. I would try to imitate my grandmother's way of teaching, of telling stories. I would follow her voice modulation, her facial expressions, her body language, her acting out certain parts of the story, which I still do today, even in my workshops that I conduct for teachers. She would bring in the excitement and the suspense, which I also try to inculcate as I told stories to my children. My students look forward to my literature and history classes, where I brought stories alive for them. So Mahatma Gandhi was not just something to be read in the history book. I acted out certain parts of his life, how he came to believe in the system of ahimsa. And so in this way, children learn so much more through storytelling. Later on, I started to encourage my children to read the chapter and tell me the story, the chapter in story form. I would give them stories to enact, and that is how we brought stories alive. Storytelling inspired my students to have purposeful conversations. Which character did you like best? Which situation did you like best? What were the things that you are against in the story? Why do you feel that this poor woman was thrown out of the house? Why do? And then would start conversations. And children came up with their ideas. And that's how we lit the inspiring feelings in a child to think and to speak. Storytelling promotes critical thinking, very importantly, creative thinking, helps children to become confident speakers, teaches them the power of body language. It teaches them the right expressions and voice modulation. Continuous storytelling by parents at home and teachers at school through various subjects and school activities teaches children to develop public speaking skills. It all starts in the classroom. You tell a child to come up to the front and to speak a sentence, and then to speak a paragraph, and then to tell a short story, and then we prepare them for elocution and storytelling competitions. So they gain that confidence as they come up and they speak to their classmates. And that's how it all begins. It lies that spark. Giving children the outlines of stories put up on the blackboard to develop on gives wings to their imagination, to their creative thinking. It boosts their self-confidence, sharpens their memory, and they learn to analyze better. After reading the story, we discuss where that hero went wrong or where that person did not do the right thing. We teachers communicate in class the 4 life skills of reading, speaking, listening, and writing. Communication is the cornerstone of all life skills. And what better way than through storytelling? I would like to end here with a story taken from the Old Testament of the Holy Bible. Let me take you to the land of Babylon, the land of the Tigris and the Euphrates. Now the Babylonians were famous for building tall structures called ziggurats. One day, these Babylonians got the bright idea of building such a tall structure that would reach the heavens, and they, the Babylonians, would be equal to God. And so the structure began. 1 story, 5 stories, 10 stories, 20 stories. But God, sitting up there in heaven, was wondering, what are these foolish human beings up to? Huh, be equal to me? No way. And so God thought of something. And he decided to make them break out into different towns. As soon as he did so, the the laborers, the engineers, and all those constructing this tower broke out into different languages. And soon they could not communicate with each other. Arguments started, fist fights broke out, and very slowly the construction came to a grinding halt. The Tower of Babel, for that it was Babel, confused talks, was never completed, and God was once again smiling up there in heaven. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and I just came up on stage to briefly tell you before we get the other author up on stage and I give the mic to Sonali, that the United Nations says that the easiest way to teach sustainable development goals is through storytelling. So that's why the focus this year, at least that we've had a series of conversations with publishers, is that the English books need to inculcate in their curriculum the SDGs. And that's why, how you can teach them. So storytelling, all of us have had, and it had a very good connotation to it, that when we were infants, we were told stories to put us to sleep. Now we need to tell them stories to wake them up. So now.
Once again, thank you, Dr. Rita Arathun. A pleasure and privilege to have you on the stage and look at you talk about a subject which is so important, storytelling, and you are a storyteller yourself. Very captivating the subject. And thank you, Dr. Chandra, for helping me on the stage. Thanking Dr. Arathun ma'am. Now we have the last part of the session in the conclave. It is the special talk, the feature talk by Ms. Rubina Sami. She's here with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Rubina Sami on stage. She is an educator, school leader, and also an author of sustainability book. Ma'am.
Thank you so much. What do I feel? I'm a St. Paulian. This is where it all began. Thank you, Dr. Amrish Chandra. Seems strange, you were my senior. And we were all in Yellow House together. Congratulations to the Miriam Foundation. And what beautiful way has St. Paul's evolved, doing what they were supposed to do since so many years, training us and training us so well. So I'm one product of St. Paul's. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And it's such a pleasure because the topic changed. Two of my favorite topics. I'm a poet, I'm a storyteller, I have a career in the British Council teaching creative writing. Then I went to Japan. I taught and we ran mobile libraries in the slums of Delhi. So somehow life has been kind. I've had an opportunity to work in many cities and in all stratas of society with so many children and educators. My learning has never stopped, and then thanks to my mother, I'm heading a school here, her school as an executive principal, so it all combines. Actually, who are we but a story? And who is more interesting than a human story? And what is more important than nature? And what does it so well but poetry? So all in all, I'm just back from Delhi, and I'm so glad, Amrish, you called me, that I was, promoting my book at the World Book Fair. It's a poetry book in Hindi, as a tribute to Bombay Rains. It's called Neeli Barish Mumbai. This is the first time I've written in Hindi, और वहाँ बारिश की बातें हो रही हैं, बॉम्बे जैज़ की बातें हो रही हैं, और फिर घूम फिर के I'm back to my favorite topic, that is the environment. this is where it began in Delhi. In Delhi around 1998, when I was just married and I was into corporate education, something was telling me Delhi at that time was very heavy with pollution also, and we had come up with things, we were planning things like CNG and all that. So I came up with a book called Our Green World. I was member of Association of Writers and Illustrators for Children in Delhi, and very young at that time, but I thought this is a very important topic. So the poetry book came. It was my second book, and it was called Our Green World, published by Kunt at that time. And it was all the poems were on environment. So the most popular of those became The Plastic Monster. And I was very lucky in the school where I was teaching. After that, I gave up my job and I joined a school in Delhi called Star X International. And they introduced the book as part of the Environment Club. And then we thought, why not have an organization? Let's form a community which does more for recycling and garbage waste. Because there was so much plastic around us. And at that time, it was not as huge, people were not as aware. But then me and my husband, we started an organization called Lemongrass Incorporation. And we have now got more than 1,000 community members across Pune. And then we moved to Pune. Pune, where I was working, I was teaching creative writing, and this organization happened to grow more. More and more community members from the school in the neighborhood where we were staying was Nyaki County, if I'm right. All of them became members. The principal Delhi Public School joined in. The students joined in, and we started working on recycling. Later it went on to be upcycling, and that continues till my school here in Green Lawns, which is Green Lawns Junior High School. And what we do here basically is, apart from doing a lot of poetry, we have a very active poetry and theatre club here. But what we do is that we, collect a lot of plastic waste, which I'm sure many schools are doing by now. But we just started a little early, it was so needed. And then we collaborate with 2-3 organizations in Lucknow and Delhi. And we pass it on and they upcycle it to school furniture. So in a city like Gorakhpur, it was really, the children were so motivated because they were not realizing that plastic is really so bad. In fact, in the beginning, some children would get, during examination, they would get their books in a polythene bag. And then to, hold garage sales. And then when they realized that it can really be upcycled to, keychains, and it can be made into jute bags, and it can be made even as school furniture, they really got very interested, and they are very active in our organization, and they hold key posts there. And last year we were very lucky to work with Nagar Nigam Gorakhpur also. So I work on a very micro level, involving community, neighbors, children, my support staff, whoever comes across us, as to how to diminish this, as we call it, bad plastic. Not all of it is bad, but to make it into something more productive. And then to promote recycling, we hold a lot of garage sales, which a lot of other schools, everyone is doing. More and more is needed actually. So many things we don't need in our homes. We just, sell it across. It's a very old concept, but the students really love to be a part of it. And along with it, they really run a very active YouTube channel called Rubina's Cafe, where I publish my poetry and put it there. So it's all in all a good space for working for nature. और जब वो story telling से होता है या poetry से होता है, तो really it becomes more enjoyable. But at the same time, I must congratulate the panelists today. All of you have really educated me a bit more. The learning never stops. And we can do more and more. Thank you, Dr. Amrish Chandra. What a privilege to be here. That how we can make it more part of the curriculum. Really, that's the need of it. Because we have so many nice English textbooks. We have environmental science textbooks. In my book in poetry, that was my dream. That was how I'd written Our Green World. I wanted a poetry book which could talk directly about CNG, talk about the rainforest, talk about the plastic monster, how we can do a garage sale, how to make it into a poem. Poetry is supposed to be more nature-driven, more like romantic, but here it was hardcore poetry, and children just loved writing it. And at the British Council later, from time to time I take workshop at the British Council Delhi, teaching creative writing. So it's a topic where children really associate themselves with, the students and even the parents, friends, and they all love to be a vibrant part of it. So I'm so glad all this, now United Nations and everything, there's DG goals, it's all getting so organized. What started as a stem of an idea for many like me, what do we do with so much waste, how do we set it right, has now become so organized. And so many educators have taken it as part of the curriculum. We just need to make it more organized, and I make it part of theatre in my school, the plays we do. I'm sure all schools recommend special assemblies on, otherwise, and clubs and communities apart from school also, where we meet, we talk about it. Our dance, our drama, our poetry, everything can be centered around it. So it's a very joyful journey, and of course, it gives me great pleasure to be here at St. Paul's, and I'm really missing Mr. Reverend Girish Chandra, my principal sir, and ma'am, and all the teachers, and I can see Catherine here, my classmate. So really congratulations to St. Paul's family. No one does it better. And we learn from the best. So congratulations to the families. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ms. Rubina, ma'am, thank you very much. You being the St. Paulian makes it all the more special. Thank you very much for an insightful spotlight session on how you are championing sustainability. You started this with your book on Green World. Yes, more than a decade back. So you're quite a pioneer, because then you were merely just being introduced to the subject of SDGs. So thank you very much. Audience, thank you again for your presence here. This is a wrap for the first part of the event, the Principals Conclave. And then we move ahead with the celebration of teachers, which is the Teacher Awards Gorakhpur. So here we take a pause, and I invite you all for a quick refreshments and a tea break. Thank you again for your presence. Thank you, esteemed panelists, for a wonderful, wonderful talk on sustainability. Thank you.